Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Psychology 281, Data Analysis in Psychology. My name is Dr. Spilkin and I will be your teacher this semester. And I want to go over the syllabus so you understand exactly what's expected. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know. So in introduction, my name is Dr. Spilkin. I have a PhD in clinical psychology with a specialization in pediatric neuropsychology. And I've done a lot of research and clinical work and teaching over the years. And my favorite thing to teach is statistics. So I'm actually really happy to be here with you this semester teaching data analysis. If you have any questions, I have office hours by appointment on Zoom, so feel free to send me an email. Here's my email address. And we can set something up. I'm pretty flexible this semester, given that we're all pretty much at home. I say please allow 24 hours for a response. It usually won't take me 24 hours, again, given our situation and pretty much all being in front of the computer all the time. In the subject, if you put something like Psych 281, that'll give me a tip that that's what we're talking about and that I'll get right back to you. We have two TAs for this class, Rachel and Thaddeus. Their emails are there for you. And they each have 3 hours of office hours a week. Rachel's are on Tuesdays from 11 to 2. Thaddeus is Monday from 9:30 to 12:30. And they're on Zoom. Typically this class, when we're in person, we have a lab where you go ahead and work through your homework in lab with your TA available. So this sort of is like an online lab. You don't have to attend, but oftentimes students really like to, or at least perhaps you would want to plan to do your homework those days, and that would then allow you, if you're having a question, to pop into office hours. You may attend either TA's office hours, so doesn't matter what section you're in. You could go to Rachel's office hours or Thaddeus's or both. So there's really 6 hours of office hours available to you. And then beyond that, you can certainly email either of them for an online appointment, basically. So the TAs for the section that you are enrolled in will be grading all of your homework. So if you're enrolled in section 1, Rachel will be grading your homework. And if you're enrolled in section 2, Thaddeus will be grading your homework. So if you have specific questions about homework, please be sure you email your specific TA in terms of grading or how they want you to answer a question. If you have questions on how to do a problem or what this type of statistical analysis is, you can ask either TA and that's fine. They can both answer your questions. And, you know, sometimes you might try both of them to see if you're kind of struggling or having questions on concepts. See how you like how one of them may explain the concepts or the other, because statistics is that kind of thing. Sometimes you kind of understand it, either how I explain it best or how Rachel or Thaddeus. So you're welcome to use either of them for your questions, but if you have a question about how something was graded, be sure to send that email just to your TA. So in terms of the purpose of our class, it's to teach you how to statistically and graphically analyze data using SPSS, which is a computer program. And so by the end of the course, you'll be able to use SPSS to enter, analyze data, create graphs, etc. And you'll be writing up your results in APA format. The prerequisites for this class is that you have credit in Psychology 270 or another statistics class. It's not open for students who have credit in Psych 280. So basically, this is the lab portion of a statistics class. So if you're in this class, you should have taken a statistics lecture class without the lab component. If you have a question about whether or not you should be in this class, I would ask you to talk to an academic advisor. There's so many statistics classes in so many colleges all over that myself and the TAs don't know if you should or shouldn't be taking this class. So that really is a question for an academic advisor if you have a question about that. And so in order to get credit for this class, you have to have already received credit for a 3-unit statistics course without a lab component. And so you don't want to take the class if you're not going to end up getting credit for it. And if you're not a psychology major, you might not need Psych 281. Again, check with your academic advisor if you have any questions about this. I'll let you read the SLOs, the learning objectives on your own. Syllabus is posted for you. All right, materials. You will need a computer through the entire semester. You cannot do this class on a tablet or a smartphone. You will need SPSS, that is the statistical software that we use to analyze data. And you'll be using SPSS after this class in many of your other psychology classes. So in Psychology 301, and as you move on, and even then through if you're going into a master's program, a PhD program, I still use SPSS. This is the program that we use, which is why we're teaching it to you. This is actually a really important class to understand, and it's one of those things that you'll use throughout your academic career. So you will need access to SPSS. SDSU gives you free access to SPSS. It has to be downloaded to a computer. Again, not a phone, not a tablet. So you will click here to go to Student Resources, click on Technology, Common Academic Software Packages, and then you're going to download IBM SPSS 26. If you have questions on how to do that, please ask your TAs, or there's a help information on this page where you can send a question or do a chat or something like that. You need SPSS. If you are unable to access SPSS somehow this way, your TAs will give you information on how you can remotely access SPSS through the library using your computer to kind of log in through the library computers. So they'll give you that information. But this first week, it is important that you have access to SPSS. If you can't get access to SPSS, you won't be able to take the class. That's what we're learning during this class. So please take this week, troubleshoot. I understand technical issues can be frustrating, can be complicated, but to get the free access to download to your computer is pretty nice. You just have to be able to do that and get it working this week. The other thing you need is a textbook. And it's this Aspelmeyer and Pierce, a user-friendly approach to SPSS. It says version 22. SPSS versions really don't change much, so it is just fine to use this book. And we are an immediate access course, which means that this SPSS textbook is provided for you in a digital form in our Canvas class on the first day of class. And it's free through the add drop date. After that, your student account will be charged a reduced price. I think it's only about $15, $16 for use of the material, for use of that book for the remainder of the semester, unless you opt out by 11:59 on the add drop date. If you have questions, go to this website about immediate access, but this is a really good price for the textbook, and you absolutely will need it. If you don't want to do it that way, you can buy the ebook by clicking on either of these two links, or at the SDSU bookstore, but it will be more expensive. So up to you. And then you will be required to have access to Canvas for the entire semester. Our class is broken up into weekly modules that will be accessed through your Canvas homepage. Each week, I'm going to ask that you complete all assignments in the modules. There'll be videos to watch, written assignments, etc., and quizzes as well. So there'll be a variety of methods to assess your learning. You'll read the textbook, do these written assignments, complete weekly quizzes. We have a final project and a final exam. And since this is an online course, all of the assessments will be done online using Canvas and SPSS. online attendance. So this is a comprehensive, and statistics, if you remember from your lecture class, is cumulative, meaning what you learn in the first week, you kind of end up using in the next chapter, and what you learn in the next chapter, you'll use in the following chapter. It builds. So I really need you to be working on this material weekly. And so we have non-synchronous or asynchronous lectures, basically 2 per week. We have a theoretical lecture and a lab lecture. So let me explain that for you. Basically, I'm not sure when you all took your statistics lecture class. Some of you, maybe it was last semester. Some of you, maybe it was 5 years ago. And either way, many of you may not remember a lot of the statistics that you learned. And I understand that, and I expect that, so don't worry. What I do is provide you a theoretical lecture that covers kind of the basics of what the statistical tests are, why you would use them, kind of the basics from your lecture class. So like, what is a one sample t-test, or what is a z-score? And I'm going to give you that information. So you don't need to reread it again in a textbook. My lecture should give you all the information you need. And then we have a lab lecture where, if we're talking about one sample t-test, I will show you how you run a one sample t-test on SPSS. You need both of these pieces, particularly as we get towards the end of the class and for our final project. You'll have a data set, and you're going to need to figure out which test to use to analyze the data and to answer different questions, why you would use those tests. So you really need the theoretical part, and then you'll have to learn how to run the analyses in the SPSS or lab part of the class. So these 2 pieces go together, and they're both going to be very important for your success in the class. You're expected to log in and begin coursework on the first day of the class. It's fully online. We don't have any on-campus meetings. Even though we won't be meeting each other face-to-face, I would say that you should log into Canvas several times a week to stay informed and meet deadlines. You must show continuous progress throughout the course, which basically means you're completing your assignments, your homework, your tests, your final project. All of that is being done throughout the semester. It's your responsibility to drop any class you're no longer attending. If you remain in the class beyond the withdrawal deadline, then you'll get a letter grade in the class. So I understand things happen, and particularly this semester with everything going on, if you decide you can't take the class for whatever reason, I understand and respect your decision. Just I need you to be sure that you drop the class. I won't drop you. So if you don't drop the class, you stay in the class, but you stop doing the work, you'll get a grade, and that grade will likely be an F. So drop if you need to. So for lab, like I said, your TA will have an open 3-hour Zoom during your lab time that you may attend. Typically, students work on their homework if we were on campus during this lab time, and they're able to ask questions of the TA during this time. So I would suggest that you attend your lab section to get help from your TAs and with any of the concepts you're learning. You may attend any of those 2 Zoom sections that are listed above. And like I said, your TA will be grading your homework, so direct grading questions should go to your TA. Little more specifics about the weekly modules. So each week, you'll have a new module to complete, which corresponds to a chapter in the textbook. For this week, for this class, each module opens Sunday, and that's where I'll post the videos and the assignments to be completed. The assignments all contribute to your understanding of the material, so please work your way through the assignments by their due dates, and everything is then due the following week, basically either on Wednesday or Sunday. We have 2 due dates throughout the semester or throughout the class. You'll have some assignments due on Wednesday and some due on Sundays. Those are our 2 deadlines. So what you'll see in these modules, you'll have my 2 lectures, typically. Then we'll have Canvas written assignments. These are due on Wednesdays and Sundays at 11:59 p.m. And it'll tell you when it's due. So you'll have 2 or more short written assignments based on the reading of your text and the listening to actually, because most of our SPSS or theoretical questions are based on my lecture. So these assignments may require you to write a couple of sentences, maybe do something with SPSS. You'll have at least 1 assignment due Wednesday at 11:59 and another due, this should say Sunday at 11:59. Be sure to complete your writing assignments on the due dates. And then there's these weekly quizzes. Those are due on Sundays at 11:59. For each chapter, there's a weekly quiz. They're important to helping you understand the material. There'll be multiple choice questions, and you may have to not necessarily upload output, but basically run some analysis in SPSS and use the output from that computer program to answer a question. So Wednesdays and Sundays are the due dates for this class. We do have a final project that will be described in more detail as we move through the class, but basically the final project is going to be, you're going to be using SPSS to do a bunch of statistical analyses. Makes sense, right? That is kind of the purpose of the class. So you're going to get a large data set with some questions that I need you to figure out what type of statistical test you'll run and do the analysis and interpret the analysis. Might seem overwhelming at this point, but as we move our way through the class, you'll see you'll be gaining this knowledge, and then by the time we get to the end, usually students think, by the time they're done with the project, they feel pretty proud of themselves because it really shows you how much you've learned. And I've set it up in a way that's very much like the type of statistical analysis we do as researchers, where you have a large data set and you're trying to answer a bunch of different questions. And then we have a final exam. It'll be on Canvas. It'll be cumulative. I will give you a study guide. And you'll be able to go through and basically answer some multiple choice questions. This is a little bit more on some of the theoretical concepts we'll have talked about throughout the class, and some SPSS output that you'll be asked to interpret. And maybe do some statistical analyses as well. Let's see. No extra credit is provided. No late assignments after the last day of class. If you are late for an assignment, you'll receive half credit. So I would suggest doing an assignment even if it's late, but at most you'll get half credit for it. So it makes much more sense to do it on time. But regardless, you don't want to skip assignments because maybe they seem hard or confusing, because you're going to need that information as we move through the class. If you're having trouble finding anything, please let me or your TAs know. As I said, anything after the due date will receive half credit. You can't make up a final or a final project, so be sure you complete those. In terms of some helpful hints, this course requires diligent work in keeping up with the material. If you remember your statistics lecture class, all of the information builds. You really need to keep up, and if you start to fall behind, then it really starts to impact you as we move through the class, right? So please keep up and keep working throughout the class on the modules. Please watch my videos. I post them there because you really need them. The book that we have is really like an SPSS lab manual. It's not a statistics book. So instead of giving you a statistics text, you have my lectures. You need to watch those theoretical lectures and then the lab lectures. to be able to do well in this class. And then set aside time each week for your homework and your weekly quizzes. The weekly time will vary by the topic and the level of difficulty. And of course, if you're having trouble with the material, attend the weekly Zoom labs. Communication is key in an online class. I'll do my best, and your TAs will communicate with you frequently and clearly over email. But if you're having trouble, please reach out to your TA or me so we can work through the issues. There's very little I can do if you wait till the very last day of class to tell me whatever difficulties you're having, and that you've been struggling through the semester. Let us know right when something's going on, and we'll do our best to help you and come up with a solution to the problem. So this is a class that has a weighted average for your final exam. So for your final grade. So we'll be grading all your assignments as we work our way through the semester. But then at the end, we take all the written assignments, and they're worth 25% of your grade. We take all your weekly quizzes, and those are worth 25% of your grade. We take the final project, that's worth 25% of your grade, and the final exam, that's worth 25% of your grade. So all of those different assignments are weighted in a category, and then it's a very straightforward grading system, which you can see here. Let's see, I'm happy to answer questions about class material, how to use SPSS, accessibility issues. I can't help you if you have a technical issue. So if your online textbook doesn't work or SPSS crashes, that's something I can't help you with. So there's helplines for the textbook, for Canvas, for SPSS support on that web page where you download SPSS if you're having technical issues. So I need you to contact those helplines for technical support. Contact me or your TAs if you have questions about the class. Of course, be sure to note the deadline to drop and the withdrawal deadline for the semester. All right, this is a lab class. Our goal is for you to learn how to interpret SPSS and write up all your results. Please listen to this. All of your homework must be done on your own or with the help of your TA. Don't do your homework with a classmate or friend. If you both have the same answers, then we will give you both zeros, basically. So this work is to be done on your own. Please attend, like I say, one of the Zoom TA sessions to get your questions answered. You can email me or your TA with questions as well. If students turn in homework assignments that are similar, and we have become really good at figuring out who has worked together on homework assignments, both students will receive a 0 on that assignment, and you can't drop it. And then if it happens again, both students will be reported to the Office of Student Rights and Responsibilities. So please note, this is really important class for you to understand how to use SPSS, and I need you to work on all your material on your own or with the help of the TAs or myself. All right, you can turn work in early. If you have some reason why you know you won't be able to turn in work, please talk to your TA as far in advance as possible. Communicate with us. If you communicate with us, we'll do our best to work with you to help you work it out. And it's your responsibility to take the final exam on the date scheduled and the final project. If there are any kind of accommodations that you need, please let me know, as well as contacting the Student Ability Success Center, and we will be happy to be sure that you're getting the accommodations that you need. If any issues, please come talk to me. I'm happy to help as much as I can. I'll let you read most of this on your own. We talked about academic honesty being really important. Being respectful in an online class is, again, very important. If you have a medical related absence, and of course, given the pandemic we're all experiencing, let us know. Please let your TA know. Please let me know if you're going to be out for an extended period of time, and we will work with you. And then this is what our class looks like in terms of week 1. Here's our welcome and introduction. You're going to get familiar with Canvas and download SPSS. Be sure you have SPSS available to you. Work out any technical issues. You're going to learn how to take a screenshot, and we're going to work on chapter 1. And then this is the only week you'll have an official check-in on Zoom with your TA for about 5 minutes. And then that's it for this week. Then week 2, we're going to do basic operations in SPSS, finding sums. You can see frequency distributions, describing distributions. So each week it's basically a chapter. You have 3 weeks basically to work on your final project. So once we finish chapter 11, part 2, that's April 11th. You're done learning new material, which is pretty nice. Then you do your final project for about 3 weeks. And then we have our final exam either on Tuesday or Wednesday, May 4th or 5th. Okay. So welcome to class. I'm looking forward to working with you this semester. Please let me know if you have any questions. And most importantly right now is be sure you get access to our textbook, which should be immediate access through Canvas, and SPSS. So go ahead and get working on that, and welcome to class, everybody.